Hello again, I'm Maurice Barratt and I've got another Lockdown 2021 for you. I've called this No One Gets Out Alive. You'll understand why. You know, wars, famines, pandemics, COVID-19, none of them increase deaths because we're all going to die. Everyone living on the planet at this moment will die. So whether it's COVID-19, whether it's disease, whether it's old age, we're all going to die. And it's inevitable. Money can't buy us out of it. Fame and fortune and status won't stop it. We all go the same way. We're all going back to dust. We'll all go back to the earth that we came from. So everyone will die. It's just a matter of time. You know, if only we could grasp this, maybe we wouldn't hold on to life so dear. I'm talking to Christians, of course, believers in Jesus Christ, because we have a different attitude to death, or we should have. You know, Paul's a good example. Let me read you Paul's attitude to death. Paul says this: according to my earnest expectation and my hope, hope's always to do with the resurrection of the new body, that in nothing I shall be ashamed, but that with all boldness, as always, so now also Christ shall be magnified in my body, whether it be by life or by death. For me to live is Christ, and to die is gain. But if I live in the flesh, this is the fruit of my labour, yet what I shall choose I don't know. So Paul's saying that he would rather die than live, because it's better to be with Christ than to be on this earth in his flesh. Amazing, but he said it's needful for you. For I am in a strait between two, having a desire to depart and to be with Christ, which is far better. Nevertheless, to abide in the flesh is more needful for you. That's from Philippians chapter 1, verse 20 to 24. Revelation 12, verse 11, a well-known verse, they overcame him. This is the one world system and the powers that are coming. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto death. They didn't love their lives that they were frightened to die. You know, we're coming to the days when we've got to have this same attitude. Well, have you ever thought how God views death? Because God watches 150,000 people die every day. That's how many people die in the world every day, 150,000. That's 56 million people die every year, and God's watching that. So in my lifetime, 4.2 billion people have died since I was born. That's half the present, well, more than half the present population. 4.2 billion, and God's seen all that. God's watched it. You know, God doesn't view death how we do. Why? Because I can't die. I'm a spirit. I only live in my body. It's my body that dies. The real death is the second death, when your spirit is put in the lake of fire. That's the real death. That's the one we should fear. We shouldn't fear leaving our body. Think about it. Spiritual and real death of a person is eternal damnation. The Bible calls it the second death. Well, nobody's yet in the lake of fire. So nobody's died of this second death yet. They've only left their bodies. Jesus made it quite clear. Let me read Matthew 10, verse 24 to 28. The disciple's not above his master, nor the servant above his Lord. It's enough for the disciple that he be as his master, and the servant as his Lord. If they've called the master of the house Beelzebub, how much more shall they call them of his household? Fear not, therefore, for there is nothing covered that shall not be revealed, and hid that shall not be made known. What I tell you in darkness, that speak ye in light, and what ye hear in the ear, that preach ye upon the housetops. Fear not them which can kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. So We shouldn't fear anything that kills our bodies, should we? Pandemics, COVID, disease, old age. We shouldn't fear it at all. You know, as believers, let's live like we believe and banish fear from our lives and look to the real life and the eternal life and the new body, the new house that we dwell in. You know, when I die, I've only moved house. My body is the house that my spirit lives in. And of course, I express my spirit through my body. I can smile, I can get angry, I can move about and express myself. But it's only a temporary house. I'm going to be clothed with a new house. I'm going to get a spiritual body. So when I die, my real life will only just begin. So time's gone. Let's be like Paul. Let's be like people who lived in hope. The Bible's full of teachings about the blessed hope, the hope of the new home that we'll have. So don't be frightened to move house. Don't be frightened to leave your body, because it's far better if you're a Christian. Don't fear death. God's made it, and God's seeing all these thousands of people die, but it's only the house, it's not them. They're not dying. That's why God's not so besotted with death like we are and hold it so dear. Read the Bible and see how God's attitude is towards death. It's a very big study, but I hope I've whet your appetite anyway. Walk in faith, not fear during this pandemic, and be bold. And don't fear anything that anyone could do to your body, because if you leave your body, you're in a much better state than you are now. God bless you. Have a wonderful week.